Good afternoon and welcome to Wyoming Sports Talk today. Again, live streaming for you on YouTube and Periscope via Twitter. Larry Proati along with Nick Proati, and our program today being brought to you by Taco John's of Cheyenne. Again, on the South Greeley Highway. They're also for you downtown KRAE Avenue at the corner of Delrange and Ridge, also Pershing and Ridge, and you can catch them on the north side on Yellowstone Road, again, offering takeout service for you now. Key of Cheyenne over on Nation Way, where AJ says, yeah, you can do your business indoors, or you can go online and do the virtual buying situation. Matter of fact, they'll even come and deliver for you as well. Give Key of Cheyenne a call for more information at 775-0123. Platte Valley Bank ×2. Banking, again, obviously done outside these days through the drive-thru. So, again, 2 locations for you to see Rick and the crew, and you can catch them over on Vanda High and at the corner of College and Pershing. Chick-fil-A, Windmill, and Delrange, right across from Powers Field and Menards. And again, 2 convenient drive-thrus, curbside as well as the drive-thrus. Oh, by the way, use the Chick-fil-A app, and you can do your order online and pay for it right there. Chick-fil-A, Windmill, and Delrange. Medicap Pharmacy, open Monday through Saturday, Bluegrass Circle next door to Texas Roadhouse. You can come inside, or you can use the convenient drive-thru. Again, they're there for you Monday through Saturday. B&B Appliance and TV at 714 Central Avenue. I was there yesterday on both sides, on the service side as well as the sales side. And again, you can get a hold of them at 638-6468, or and use the 2 options. 1 would be for sales, 2 would be for service. But again, if you want to come in, you can shop inside. You want to talk to Terry over in the service department, you can do that as well too. Again, B&B Appliance and TV at 714 Central Avenue. Lennox Auto Body, where they have now cut back their hours Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. till 2 p.m. You can reach them for more information at 634-6608. And again, the Auto Glass and Detail Center over on Pershing Boulevard, you can call to get information on both with Lennox Auto Body and the Auto Glass and Detail Center, both part of Lennox Enterprises, serving our community needs for over a quarter century. First Tier Bank at 1508 Stillwater Avenue. And again, they're open Monday through Friday. Give them a call at 632-3500, 632-3500. If you need to do some banking in the inside portion of the program, they are there to help you over at First Tier Bank. Right across the street is Mondello's Pizzeria, 1507 Stillwater Avenue, Suite D in the Greenway Commons. Again, open 7 days a week. Joe and his wonderful staff, doing all of the protective measures, again, doing the curbside as well as takeout. And again, you can get a hold of Mondello's Pizzeria. Joe, now in his 5th decade here in Cheyenne, bringing us delicious Paisan cuisine. That's Mondello's Pizzeria, where their pizza has been ranked in the top 10 by the Food Network, folks. Again, always fresh, always delicious, always the dough freshly made, as well as their breads for their awesome sandwiches at Mondello's Pizzeria. And our program is being brought to you by the great folks at Pepsi of Cheyenne, where we usually say it's time to go to the scoreboard, but there is no scoreboard to report. But again, Pepsi of Cheyenne is our proud sponsor here on KY.
There is a
KRAE.
faux scoreboard to report on. Again, thanks to everyone who did tune in throughout the month of March and a little bit of April for the 1480 KRAE Virtual March Madness live streams. If you missed it yesterday, national champion was crowned. It was Maryland, the Terrapins, that were your winners.
Seriously?
Maryland? It was Maryland versus Michigan in the national championship contest. And again, Terrapins got the victory, so congratulations to Maryland. They got the victory. So again, if you have not, it has been archived on Periscope via Twitter at Nick Wild Sports and the 1480 KRAE YouTube channel. Again, it is listed in a playlist on Virtual March Madness. So again, if you want to go back, watch it, or see how it got to that point of Maryland versus Michigan, that bracket also too is archived online on a Google Docs. Again, that link has been posted all over the place, whether Facebook, on Twitter, again, to go find out and see how it got to Maryland versus Michigan in our virtual, at least March Madness live stream tournament. So again, congratulations to the Maryland Terrapins. They are the, again, quote-unquote, virtual March Madness champions.
All right, well, we have a couple of, boy, I'm running like way ahead here. A couple of guests joining us today. First will be former Laramie County Community College soccer coach on the ladies' side, Lady Golden Eagles head coach Jim Gardner, again, who's been an instructor with Laramie County School District number 1, also a head coach on the LCSD side for many years as well. And we also will be getting an update from Adam Galicia, head coach of the Cheyenne Extreme, trying to find out exactly where things stand with the Extreme. In baseball in general, Nick, we got some ideas, but we'll find out on the local side what's going on with Adam. And then I do believe on Thursday when we'll do our program again, you have Ty Lane from Post 6 joining us as one of our guests thus far, as we'll get an update on the Legion. We've heard other things going on with Legion, but we'll get it straight from the horse's mouth, so to speak, coming up on Thursday. Jim Gardner when we come back after this. Welcome back to Wyoming Sports Talk today again as we are live streaming on YouTube and Periscope via Twitter. Jim Gardner, good friend of ours, joined us here on KRAE as we get to talk sports with Jim. And again, I guess, Jim, we'll first talk about LCCC as you had a wonderful exit as the head coach with the Lady Golden Eagles, but unfortunately, everything's been shut down and nobody's had a chance really to celebrate it.
Yeah, that's a rough way to go. I think everybody's feeling that as far as athletics go and sports in general.
All right. Well, anyway, we're going to get to the crux of our conversation. And again, we chatted about it last week, and I'm going to tell you real frankly, I was kind of non-committal on this, Jim, because don't know all the particulars, and we're going to hear it from your side. We've opened the door for Boyd Brown to join us. He has not responded yet to any emails that Nick has sent out. But obviously, we're talking about what has gone on with the situation with the coaches not receiving their spring stipend. And again, you have been a coach on that side, obviously, with soccer at Cheyenne East and other sports that you've had a chance to coach throughout the course of the year. So, again, let me come right out of the box and ask, when you are appointed the head coach of a program, and whether it's a spring program, and again, we're in a unique situation this year, none like any other that's ever happened in many, many years. But when you are named head coach, are you under a contract when you are given that position?
Yes, you're under a contract. But in that contract, it also has specifications that you can be terminated for certain things, and pretty much you're an at-will employee.
So let me ask you this question then, too. When Dr. Brown made the decision to cut the stipend of the coaching staffs for all of the spring sports, is that one where he did on his own, or did he have to have the approval of Laramie County School District number 1 Board of Trustees?
That's a good question. I can't answer that 100%. Most of the administration things that are done throughout the district are done through the superintendent. Things like budget or maybe curriculum, things like that would go through the school board if there's going to be changes, but most things to do with faculty or staffing goes to the superintendent.
So at least let's fill in, folks, at this point in time of what's happening here in Cheyenne, or at least here in Laramie County School District number 1, where, again, Dr. Boyd Brown, superintendent of schools out here, again, a couple of weeks ago, it was found out in the local paper that coaches were found to, again, at least get 1/6 of their stipend for spring sports that, again, are not happening due to the COVID, at least outbreak here across the nation. Again, the cancellation of spring sports, or at least the postponement of spring sports, we can only hope so. But again, coaches here in town have received 1/6 of that stipend. Also, to have recent, again, it has come out that those coaches, or at least Superintendent Boyd Brown, has also to at least made his voice heard across the Activities Association here in the state of Wyoming, basically saying that he wants the entire cancellation of spring sports altogether, with the COVID at least outbreak, saying no, we don't want to even postpone it. We just don't want spring sports outright. Now, Jim, why we brought you on, and again, with the coaches who are currently employed at Central, East, and South here in town, out of the respect of them, and again, their jobs, and they want to be anonymous, where it's going to be a little bit tough with us, again, hearing their voices or seeing them via Skype or however we're going to do that interview with them possibly. But we wanted to bring you on, though, to kind of be the voice of those spring sport coaches, where, again, you've been in that position over at Cheyenne East, being the girls soccer head coach there with the Lady Thunderbirds, of just give your thoughts, your opinions on what that stipend means to these coaches, and again, what Boyd Brown did to these coaches here in town, a part of this school district.
Well, before we get too far, I don't want to slight anybody that's not working. I have friends that are completely out of jobs, that are suffering, that have expressed their interest to me, or their maybe disappointment that I'm standing up for coaches that are not getting paid. I think one of the things that's going on is people are looking at coaches saying, well, at least they've got a job, their teaching job pays them, and they're not getting paid, whereas we in the community are not even getting paid. Restaurant waitress or a nail tech or anything that's going on medically, hours are cut. So when I'm trying to do is point out a couple things. Number one was the transparency issue of how this was all handled. I don't think the coaches or even the ADs were really in on the conversation. There's no explanation of why it happened. The second thing would be if there's an email that went out a while back, a couple weeks ago, to the district employees that staff that was not full-time or substitute teachers would be paid their normal salary as if they were working. So whatever the average was, they would get paid. Your staff that is still employed, that doesn't work, just like the coaches, they're still getting paid. So if those people are still getting paid, why aren't your coaches getting paid? What's the reason? If you are paying them, or you've decided not to pay them, then it's a moot point anymore. And if the coaches don't get paid and everyone else doesn't, it doesn't make sense. So those would be the two things that really stand out in my mind, was the transparency issue and the fact that, the coaches are still working even now, and worked a lot before, to just make it down 1/6. There's, just like everybody else, there are coaches that's their only job. They get paid for that in the school district, and they depend upon that. I know people can go out and get loans and things for that, and that's what other people are doing. I think it just needs to match up is all I was doing. And the coaches are told that they're not supposed to talk to anybody. Same with the school district employees. They're not supposed to talk. They could be forced suspensions or put on probation, those kinds of things. So I wanted to be a voice for them and just let it be heard that I think coaches matter, and that I don't want to slight anybody else that's not working in that respect.
Also, too, Jim, we want to mention, as Nick mentioned, the high schools. This also affects junior high as well as the elementary school spring coaches as well. So the next question would be, out of my mouth to you, is this the only school district that decided to not pay its coaches, or, again, cut back on the pay to the coaches here in the state of Wyoming?
I don't think I can speak to every school district. I know that Johnson County, Buffalo schools are not paying their coaches. On the other hand, I know that Albany School District and Natrona County School District are paying their coaches. I know that Albany County their administration sat down with their athletic directors and talked to them, and the athletic directors talked to the coaches, and they were told that they need to keep a log and list the activities that they're doing, how they're communicating, what kind of video or online things they're doing, what their workouts are, so that the public could see that they're still actually doing a work. And indeed, if the schedule or the season goes on, they would be able to demonstrate that, they're still working. And I think our coaches are still doing that, and, did a lot of work before season, as all coaches do, and teachers as well. So that's what I know of at least 3 districts. I can't speak to every district in the school in the state.
Now, with the coaches here in Laramie County School District number 1, and Dr. Brown makes this decision. So basically, this was a decision that caught everybody off guard, that no one was in on this. Again, if this was just a Dr. Boyd Brown decision, along with the admin folks, principals weren't involved on this. It was just strictly administration over there on Warren Avenue.
I do think the principals were involved. I'm not sure. The information I have is the ADs weren't involved, but that could be incorrect depending on who we're talking about. I know that the coaches weren't involved in it, and that it came out very quickly. There was no indication that this might happen. It was just said, this is what's going to happen. And I believe it came from HR. I don't believe it came from the athletic directors or the principals. I think it was sent through an email from HR.
Now, we look at the monies that are always given to Laramie County School District number 1, with all the other school districts here in the state of Wyoming from our legislature. These monies had already been divvied out prior to the COVID-19 outbreak. So these monies were already, and I'll use the term, already in the bank. And again, this is just pure speculation on your behalf as well as mine. Is Dr. Brown being in preventive mode right now by holding back these stipends, or is it just, hey, the money was there and there's no reason why it shouldn't have been paid out to the coaches?
Well, that's your first reaction, or at least that was my first reaction. And I think an explanation would really help. But as time goes on, just within a week or so, you look at what's gone on, and the oil prices dropping to, below $20, and our state getting ready to reconvene. I'm sure we're looking at all kinds of ways to possibly have to save money. I'd hate for this to get to the point where we were cutting teachers or specialists or anything like that. And, maybe Dr. Brown saw some things coming on the wall that he needs to save some money. They've saved money on, it was in the paper today, summer school not having it, or, they've saved money on already canceling the season with bus rides and meals and motels and the state tournament that was going to be held here for soccer. They've saved money on that, but is that all going to be enough? And I wouldn't want what I'm doing to harm anybody down the line, but it would be nice to know, what are the expenses that he thinks they're going to have, or, is it something that we really got to look forward to? And preemptive, because we're going to cut this money. And I think an explanation would go a long way and show a little more credibility to the coaches, and maybe a little more respect towards them and teachers as well, if they knew what was happening and why.
Yeah, without a doubt. And again, I've sent out 2 emails so far to Dr. Boyd Brown, and no response yet from him to at least come on our show and give that explanation. He's given a couple lines to the local paper as well, too, about the situation. But again, it's still been a lot of gray area around this situation. Jim, want to talk about at least his recent decision, or at least his voice that was heard across the Activities Association here in the state of Wyoming, where he voted that we should just cancel at least in general spring sports altogether here due to the COVID outbreak across the nation. Again, follow along with the likes of the NBA, the NHL, other pro sports, and also too what the NCAA and NJCAA have already decided on. But want to get your thoughts on that, at least process that Dr. Boyd Brown basically, again, sending out his opinion to the Activities Association. Do you agree with Dr. Boyd Brown on that we should outright cancel it, or should we find opportunities for these spring coaches to earn that stipend, so to speak, or at least get that full stipend and then get those teams out there to start playing
and
again? Plus
our student athletes getting back out there and getting involved in spring sports.
Yeah, that's a really tricky situation, or tricky question. I think Dr. Brown has every right to make the decision he makes. He's the leader of the district. And if he wants to say it, he can make that decision on his own. That's what he's paid for. That's what his job is. There's nothing in his contract that says, hey, you got to tell everybody or meet with this many people before you make a decision. And I understand that. I mean, all administrators, principals, athletic directors, all administrators have the right to make decisions whether you like it or not. I think on the other hand, integrity-wise or communication-wise, transparency, it shows a little bit more if you do communicate. At this point, if you'd asked me a couple weeks ago, I said, yeah, I think we should hold the season for the reasons that you said. But I think with us not holding school already, I mean, we're already decided. I think that if Laramie County's not going to hold it, we're going to hold a state tournament here for soccer. I suspect if our district's not going to participate in that, then I don't see a way that the sports can go on. I'd love to see it, but everything's so hard to say. Every time you stand up and you go against what the common knowledge is, or how the health dictates are, you kind of get shot down. So I'd love to see it happen and see the kids get out there and play. I think everybody feels bad for the seniors and the kids that don't get to participate in athletics or their prom or their senior pictures and their graduations. We all feel really bad for that, and everybody's affected. But I think at this point, it seems to me like it's already a decision that's been made. If we're not going to have schools, and I can't see us having athletics outside of that.
Well, Jim, let's try to paint a rosier picture, since the governor has not issued a stay-at-home. Only certain communities have decided to do the stay-at-home. But technically, we're in this mode until the end of the month. So, and I remember we had Chad Whitworth on the program where, you take about 8 or 9 practices, if I'm not mistaken, to get ready for your next sport. So let's look at the bright side, where maybe we are back in session in May. And could there possibly be an extended sports season to get underway after the first week of May? Try to cram as much in as you can in about a 5-week period. And I don't mean to say cram, that's a bad choice of words, but try to get as much sports activity, whether it's track and field, whether it's some soccer, again, whatever spring sports are going on. Is there some things that we could possibly do if that were the case?
I think,
I'm trying to look at the glass half full here.
I see your cheery side. I like that a lot. The problem you're going to run into is, I think if we'd have been able to start at April, you could have run a season where you played everybody once, went to a region, a state tournament. Starting in May, you got to have 9 days in, so you're already into the second week of May, and then that leaves you. Usually the state tournament's the third or sometimes the fourth week of May. Even if you pushed it back to the fourth week of May, I don't think you could get all the games in to be able to have a way to bracket a state tournament out. I'd love to see kids play, and I know that the coaches would love to do it, but I also look at, the periodization of athletes coming in. They've sat out, they haven't trained now. Some of them were coming out of basketball and indoor track and had some fitness in, and now they don't have much at all. So trying to play 2 games a week and then play three games in a row would be very difficult. I think it'd be the same with track. And I'm not sure it would be the best way to go at this point when you look at the safety of kids and what I already dealt with when I was in a full season of how hard it was on the kids and how many games we packed into one. So even though I'd love to see the rosy side, it seems hard for me to see how you'd put a program or a quality or even a just get out there and play type of thing without sacrificing some of the kids and their physical ability and health on the field.
And that's a good point. And I thought about this right away as you were talking about it. It's maybe not all about winning state championships right now as it is to getting the young men and women back on the fields, whether it's, soccer or back in the pool or on the golf course, whatever the case may be. The point is that just to get them back out competing for, say, some 30 days, that they would have that opportunity. And again, if the East High soccer team wins 5 games, great, terrific, they're 5-0. But I mean, this would be the unique year that no one's going to be crowned a state champion, but at least those senior student athletes would have that opportunity to at least have one last shot to shine. And whether it's 30 days or 25 days, whatever the case may be. Wouldn't we rather like to see that for our student athletes so much, not so much as who's the best in the state?
My mindset's always in the state championship mode. So that's a step back, maybe a paradigm shift in my mind. But, the point you're bringing up is something I really hadn't thought of, just to get the kids out there. It'd be a great way to end the season and go. And, you don't crown a state champion. In my mind, that's always what you play a season for. But in these unusual circumstances, that might be something we could look at. And I know the kids would love being out there and at least have a chance. And might, if we get back to opening up society, that might be one of the first things we could do.
And then that would also lead into the final thought with me, where that would also, and again, I don't want to use the word justify, but since Boyd Brown has already put a cancellation, I mean, then it would at least give those coaches that opportunity to revive the rest of their stipend for being a spring sport coach, just simply for the fact that they threw in 5 months worth of work in 6 weeks.
Yeah, that certainly would help. I mean, it would justify a cause and put them right back out there. It seems like you would pay them their stipend for the rest of the course, and they've been working and talking to their students and coming up with practice plans and fitness plans and, goal setting and communicating with their kids on how they are and, doing video meetings with them. So they've been putting in the work just in case this does happen, and hoping that their athletes are being able to stay competitive and sharp when they come back. So, yeah, I think they would have earned it and continue to earn it if they were able to go on with the season.
And final thought from me for you, Jim, and again, appreciate you joining us here today and giving your thoughts and opinions on this situation happening here in town across this school district in the city of Cheyenne. But for folks out there tuning in or, again, want to help out these local coaches where, again, right now it seems like the nation is kind of rallying around of, hey, whether it's local small businesses supporting one another during these hard times. In your opinion, Coach, to support or at least folks who want to help out these local coaches, what's kind of the avenues that they should look into, whether it is emailing Dr. Boyd Brown, emailing administrators at those schools, or talking directly with those coaches? What avenues do you see that folks out there that may be a little financial, at least able to, or again, want to help out these spring sport coaches? What do you suggest to those folks, Coach?
Well, I think the most obvious way to do it is the public support. I mean, if their public's opinion is that coaches should have their stipend, if other faculty or non-full-time or staff that aren't working, even though they're getting paid, if coaches should be in line with that, then maybe communication to the school board, communication to the administration, Dr. Brown, would be the most beneficial. I think when social media or the board hears from people more, they tend to change their mind or at least take it into consideration a little bit more. I think Dr. Brown's a little that way too. I'm not sure how everyone really feels on that, but that would be the first thing. I think the second thing that you brought up is coaches always like to hear from parents on how they're doing, encouragement. My feeling from coaches is they don't want charity. They don't want people to give them money or anything like that. I don't think that's what they're in it for. They want to know that their relationships with the kids are, maybe lifelong and how they can help out. So maybe those two things would be the biggest issues that would help. Number one being just communication with school board, if that's how you feel about it. If not, on that without a little bit of pressure.
Well, Jim, thank you so much. You've been a good friend to us, and if you wouldn't mind, keep us in the loop as well, so we can get the proper people on to chat about this. And again, I've got my fingers crossed. Again, I'm looking at that glass half full, and hopefully at the end of the month we all could say, hey, let's try to resume a normal life again, and maybe we can get our student athletes back out there for the final few weeks of the season.
Yeah, there's nothing more that I'd love to get things back to normal and see high school kids compete again and, get the fans out there and the coaches. Thanks for having me on. I appreciate the opportunity to talk, and I hope that you guys can get some answers and things work out really well. So thank you again.
Thank you. Jim Gardner, again, on our Wyoming Sports Talk today. We're going to take a time out. We'll be right back.
If you're looking for fun and style, then the new 2019 Kia Optima has what you need. And here at Kia of Cheyenne, we can help you own one. I'm AJ Miller, and the 2019 Kia Optima will reward your daily drive with comfort, performance, and advanced engineering. Kia Optima technology, your phone allows access to remote lock or unlock, climate control, 24-hour roadside assistance, and much more. Come in, call 775-0123, or go to KiaofCheyenne.com, and we'll make it easy.
College has been something that's always been on the back of my mind.
This is where I found what I wanted, one of my passions, what I really love to do.
In class, I feel more engaged.
The people here do care about you, and they want to help you succeed in life.
They make it so easy to be a parent and be able to still go to school.
I like the way I'm improving.
I love being, part of the LCCC family, and I'm glad I made this step in my life.
Welcome back to Wyoming Sports Talk today. Our next guest coming up at the 4 o'clock hour will be the head coach of the Cheyenne Extreme. Adam Galicia, where Adam going through the same situation right now where coaches throughout Laramie County School District number 1, again, on the high school side, junior high, as well as the elementary schools, you got your teams, but really can't do anything right now. You're still kind of hunkered down. And again, this is
it's a day-by-day situation.
Well, no, the governor has this in place until the end of the month. It keeps getting moved back.
Again, it's up to every state. It's up to every county, every city right now. It sounds like where, again, you have folks up in Jackson Hole that are at stay-at-home.
They're shut down.
But here in Cheyenne, again, it's kind of it's relaxed. Granted, this state, as I've been joking around with a few folks, whether it's those out in Chicago, down there in Denver, throughout this nation that are in those larger cities, kind of joking with them of, hey, Wyoming kind of is already practicing social distancing before this even happened, with the lack of people here in the state. But either way, though, again, there is no definite, or at least no finite data right now, or at least there's no decision right now throughout the entire state that's all as one that says, hey, this is happening, no arguments, there's no ifs, ands, buts about it. It is pretty much of, this county does this city's doing this county's doing that. The whole state is, again, one of the few here in the entire nation that does not follow that stay-at-home order.
But you know it too, Nick. You see me. I watch the press conferences every day, and again, it's one of those.
You're insane for doing it.
No, I'm not, because I
How
also.
much of that can you take?
I'm very disappointed in my business as well too. The media business, especially the reporters, are very idiots. Very much I shouldn't say they're idiots. They are idiotic in some of their questions. But my point is. We're in a very critical week, according to the president, the vice president, and their team right now. So, again, where not so much we're critical here in this part of the world, more than that would pertain to New York, New Jersey, maybe in the Chicago, the bigger metro areas. Well, hey, California's not – think about California, Nick, how big they are, but they're also spread out. Yeah. They're not all compact like New York. But the thing is, their cases are not as bad. We here in Laramie County, we have the most. We have about 40 cases of the 200-plus. But, again, we're a state of 550,000 people. So, again, when you're looking at 200 cases of COVID-19 you sit there and you go, wow, you tip your cap, and yeah, the social distancing, we can laugh about that, but we have been protective, and our governor has been at the forefront saying, hey, we need to, kind of step back a little bit and not rush into this. But again, this is, as they mentioned yesterday, especially with Vice President Mike Pence, he said this is a very critical week. And hopefully we're hitting that where I think his name's Fauci, where he says we're coming to that, hopefully that downslide. And that's what we need right now to get out of this.
The data, who knows at this point in time. They're saying, again, UW estimates that here in the state of Wyoming, where as of right now, again, we have no deaths. Not saying that's what's going to be here in the state of Wyoming. Again, folks, the unfortunate thing that some folks here in the state are going to pass away from this, at least virus, this disease here. But again, they came out and said, hey, we had higher numbers of where the apex is going to hit approximately in May. They said about around 100 folks here in the entire state of Wyoming were going to be affected in the negative route because of this. Well, now, again, I think it was a couple days ago, if not today, said, hey, we tempered it back about a couple 10 people, that it should be still above 100, but not as much as we thought, where again, the situation that we're in, where we see it on the sports side and also too just in general life, without a doubt, it's day by day. We don't know. No one really has the absolute answer on what's going to happen right now, outside of those folks that have said, hey, this is the law, or this is the rule, or this is the decision. We've made it. For instance, again, coming out today from the National Legion Baseball, at least Association, there is no national tournament. There are no regional tournaments. One regional tournament that was supposed to be happening up in Gillette, up there at Rough Rider Stadium. Again, that has been officially, they said that's done. Not happening. They're not looking to postpone it. They're not looking to start it up at a later date.
Well, the annual Shrine Bowl in June has been wiped out as well, too. Again, they have to give back monies on tickets and potential advertisers, sponsors that were part of this. So again, we're seeing a lot of this across the nation.
It's day by day, but again, it fluctuates time in and time out, where we were anticipated here this month to basically be in that all clear, or at least things were starting to lighten up. But now it's been pushed to around May, and we'll see if that's going to be the definitive timeline, or does things elevate or get even more hectic outside of that. Again, we can only hope not, but again, only time will tell. But here in the state of Wyoming, though, again, it's very interesting, especially on the sporting side of things, where, again, you have the stipend issue here in this, at least school district here in the city of Cheyenne with Laramie County. Again, you have the other folks around the state that have either paid out, or, as Jim mentioned, hey, you got to fill out logs to say, hey, this is what you did to basically earn that money, or at least earn that stipend. And then others have just said, no, you're not getting paid at all. Your season's wiped out. We don't care. I wouldn't say they don't care, but basically, hey, this is what it is, and we have to move forward with what that decision is.
And again, I'm trying to be on the positive side of this. I mean, we have done what has been asked of us as a state of Wyoming, and I'm hoping that the governor, and maybe every day, the governor's in contact with Washington, D.C., that, maybe there's going to be that end of the month, all clear, and we could get back to, because, again, that's what the federal government wants us to get back, is to a normal life. Normal life will never be the same like we had prior to COVID-19, but to try to reassemble our lives and get back into the daily grind. We're already starting to see a lot of folks right now. Yes, they're practicing the social distancing, but they're also walking in parks, jogging, riding bikes, out and about shopping. Doing everybody's trying to get back to daily life.
There were again, social distancing in this city has been kind of interesting from the stores that I've been in, or at least grocery stores of recent, where, again, that 6-foot line hasn't really been implemented, or, again, folks still gather in those crowds, where it really, the message is probably there, but it's just not being put into practice out here in public. It's also, too, it goes into our next topic of what it was happening, again, on kind of the more recreation side of things.
Let me interrupt you on that, and I know exactly where you're going. Again, the governor has not implemented, hey, we all have to wear face masks.
Yeah, it's not a law. It's not a law. It's a recommendation.
But also, too, in some states,
it's kind of like how the president said, "Hey, CDC recommends that you wear a mask," and then he goes and makes a point of, "I'm not going to," but it's just recommended.
And again, too, some places like trying to get into Florida, they got Border Patrol. And the Border Patrol basically
New York plates have been barred.
Or you're basically self-quarantined for 14 days. Our governor has not put those border patrols in place.
The recommendation is there. He said, hey, if you folks out of state that do come into our state, it is recommended that you do the self-quarantine for 14 days. Again, whether that is up to that individual, those people that do cross the border.
And they probably haven't. Those that have come in.
I highly doubt it. But again, it goes into another topic.
That's why I led into that for you.
Well, again, I appreciate it. But as we've been seeing a recent influx, and again, here where we are just 15 miles north of the Colorado border, where those folks down there are in a stay-at-home position. And again, that's in the entire state of Colorado, where you're supposed to stay at place. You're not supposed to leave except for essential needs. That means no unnecessary travel inside that state or outside. It's pretty much, you stay put. You go do either your work, your essentials, a grocery store, medical, whatever you need, and then you head back home. That's how it's supposed to be. That's been put in effect for quite some time down there in the state of Colorado. But we've seen more and more influx across the state border, and it leads into the recreation, where this state does offer out-of-state fishing licenses. Again, that has been put in place for quite some time here in the state of Wyoming. But we've seen an influx, apparently. I think our lovely mayor here in the city of Cheyenne, Mayor Orr, said about 153 were purchased over this past weekend, which saw a great influx of those green and white plates coming across the border and being at Vita Vu, being at wherever here in the entire state to get out get outside, get their mind off the madness that is going on in the world, but
they're crossing state lines.
And again, it's upsetting folks right now, but it kind of begs the question, or at least it's a statement right now to our mayor here in town, and also to the governor of at least Mark Gordon, of where, in theory, again, your recommendations, yeah, sure, they're nice and dandy, but are people practicing? Absolutely not. And now you're seeing folks basically outcry of saying, hey, why are all these Coloradans here? Get out of my state. Well, again, they have I'll say they have the right to be over here. Again, is it the smartest decision on their behalf? Probably not. But again, they can do it though.
First off, Nick, everybody believes they don't have this stuff, right? I don't have COVID-19.
I feel like I've already. I'm in the belief that I've already had it, or I've got it, or eventually will. I don't think it's a question of if, but when. Without a doubt. Again, if this thing is viral as it's going to be. For me, of how I'm approaching this, again, I take it as I've either had it, I got it, or eventually I'm going to get it, without a doubt. I think without a doubt. I think that's just how you have to approach life at this point in time. And again, you just, as we've said many a time, you got to be smart about this. You got to be safe. Practice those cleaning methods. Don't touch your face when you're touching cardboard boxes or door handles or whatever when you're out and about in public.
I've washed my hands so much I'm down to 2 fingers and half a thumb.
Whatever. But either way,
no,
though,
I'm just kidding.
But either way, though, again, could it be that those folks say, hey, I don't have it, I'm just going to go out and about, and hey, Wyoming's available, and again, they're selling fishing licenses, I'm going to go across the border and have some fun and get away from all this madness. But also,
you're saying shut down the borders then.
I'm not. I'm definitely not saying that, but I'm just saying more so of these state leaders, again, whether it's here in the city of Cheyenne or, again, our own governor, if you're saying, hey, those folks need to stay out and not participate in fishing, in going to these parks or whatever, then you need to force it a little bit better then. Or either, again, if you want to totally shut down our borders, then you better put state patrol out there, or either it's not going to happen.
You're also making the statement that, hey, if you're telling us, local, state, and county governments, if you're telling us to be one way, then you can't allow something else to go awry. And again, I'm kind of at a loss for words on this with those that are coming in, and we'll just say from Fort Collins, we'll just throw that out there, coming up here to fish in our reservoirs, or whether they're walking in the parks or going to Vita Vu, whatever. The point is, they should know better too, because they've been given the they've been given the ultimatum by Governor Polis.
They're not breaking a law, though. It's not a law. Again, it's a recommendation. It's an option.
In some cases, it has been.
It's not here in the state, though. Again,
no, I'm not
you can talk
here,
other states, but here in the state of Wyoming, again, you can do practically whatever still. You could still go out and about. There is no penalty like other places that put into effect or, again, fine folks where we saw out in Salt Lake City. We've seen in other major cities of, hey, if you're seen out and about walking about, you're subject to a fine, possibly jail time as a possibility. But, again, here in the state of Wyoming, it's lax. But it is where, again, this does go into sport and recreation, again, regarding these fishing licenses that the state of Wyoming are still selling right now to those out-of-state folks, which, again, this is something the state has done for years and continue to do even during this situation where folks are going to buy up, go out, and get away, again, get outside of those boarded walls of their homes and get some fresh air. What better place than the state of Wyoming? But my argument, though, is to those state officials and, again, city officials, i.e. our mayor and Governor Mark Gordon, where you're saying, hey, folks need to stay out or borders need to be sealed, and you need to, at least Colorado, Nebraska, Idaho, Montana, whoever, South Dakota, you need to stay out of our state. You need to do a little bit better job than this. You basically need to start implementing state troopers, and, again, you have a border patrol out there.
Yeah, and it also sounds like
I'm not calling for it, but if you're going to complain about it, do something about it.
I'm not doing that either, but it also sounds like it's all about the money too, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Again, because licenses cost money.
A state that is hurting right now due to oil prices, again, coal mines that are getting closed down, everything because of this. Yeah, again.
Yeah, I mean, all levels of business are being affected right now. I'm kind of in the middle on this one.
Those folks, again, stop complaining then. That's all I'm saying right now. Stop complaining unless you're going to do something drastic.
No, I agree.
Because, again, you're not going to stop anyone just by saying, hey, black and white on Twitter, oh, please stay out of our state or self-quarantine. Majority of those folks don't know who the hell you are, don't follow you on Twitter, are not going to see those social media sites and have no idea and don't care.
Well, and again, too, if this is you can't be arbitrary on this one because, too, if a game and fish warden is watching you and me out fishing, okay, and we got our license, and you just moved here from Arizona 4 or 5 months ago, but you still have Arizona plates on. I mean, again, it's like, well, you got to show him that you have all of this identification. I've got to sit there and back you up and say, hey, he's been here since so-and-so time. Again,
I still haven't. I have Wyoming plates, but I still haven't had a license.
I don't want this to be a witch hunt either.
Yeah.
Because, again, now we're starting to get into citizens' rights. And I know Colorado is on lockdown. But if that be the case, if Colorado is on lockdown, then shouldn't it be up to the Colorado State Patrol to be positioned right before the Wyoming border? And over at 287, they should be positioned right there and not allow their people into the state of Wyoming. Because that is the issue from Governor Polis. Stay home. You are, again, if you're not essential, stay home. That includes you being a fisherman.
Yeah.
Or a sportsman. So it shouldn't be up to Wyoming to shut down their borders. I think it should be up to the states that are in the lockdown, and they should have their people manning the borders and saying, no, you are a Colorado resident. Governor Polis has issued this statement. Unless you are going to do business, then you can't cross border lines.
But
that's
again,
the way it should be.
That crosses the line of martial law and kind of gets into scary territory.
Aren't we kind of in martial law right now?
And not here in this state, though, thankfully.
Well, again, Jackson put themselves in martial law.
Yeah, but Jackson's full of Jackson's it's a whole different entity up there in that part of the world.
I got you.
But either way, though, again, I'm not calling for this. All it is just saying, hey, these state officials, do something about it if you're going to complain about it. instead of just writing on black and white words, it basically trying to send out a message to folks in a completely different state that borders around us that are not going to even know what the hell's even going on, not even focus on what's happening in the state of Wyoming, but they know that it's open. They're going to do whatever they want then.
Yeah, and again, you look
so
at
either put up or shut up. At least local officials here in this state, and including here in the city of Cheyenne, if you're going to complain about it, do something about it. Then I'm not advocating that they should. I think that where we are right now in the state of Wyoming, again, we are in a different situation than the rest of the nation. Again, of how sporadic this state is, how low populated it is, that
how social distance we are.
Yeah, without a doubt. And again, to avoid the martial law and at least that kind of scariness that goes a part of that, kind of takes away the individual freedom rights that are guaranteed to us in the Bill of Rights here in this in this country. It does act a little
public.
Yeah, it acts a little scary at some point in times, and hopefully it doesn't get to that point. But again, that's all it is that basically it is these people in power here in the state of Wyoming, you got to stop complaining about this.
Yeah, you can't do one thing and can't do one thing and allow something else to happen.
Yeah.
Either do it all at once, shut it down.
Either you follow the rest of the nation, or either you pay the consequences,
or quit griping about stuff.
Yeah.
And again, I could understand too, Nick, if you and me were fishing at Granite, for argument's sake, and we see a big old truckload of our buddies from Fort Collins coming up, and they want to sit next to us and pop open a couple of beers and fish next to us, are we kind of leery that we know that they could be COVID-19? I mean, again, we got people that are in a different mode, a different frame of mind now too. Everybody's very weary of this. And again,
but also too, folks are trying to find
folks are narking on people now too.
But also too, that's gonna happen.
I mean, we're into the good old fashioned tattletaling days again. So
that's no surprise. You're gonna have losers like that.
There's a lot of good to go along with a lot of bad right now, and then there's no in between. That's just it. Yeah. It's either this way or that way.
But again, for folks who are looking for an escape or trying to get outside from the quote unquote kind of cages that they are living in right now of their homes with these stay-at-home orders, if they see that opportunity to get out, get away, get some fresh air, see some new scenery, and just kind of escape from what is happening in the world, they're going to do it. They're going to do it, and I don't blame them. I do not blame them.
In Colorado, if they know better, right?
But again, they're an individual.
It doesn't matter, though. But if it's been requested.
It's requested. It's not a law.
And again, it's been requested. And most of the state of Colorado has abided by it. But if you got a couple of rebels that are going to blow it for everybody, and then you're going to incite a situation where, hey, maybe we got to close down the borders now. And I think our governor doesn't want to get to that point.
No.
He believes that all protections are in place right now here in Wyoming. And again, I go back to Jackson's doing their own thing. We are in a situation where a lot of businesses are trying to function best they can. We're functioning best we can.
Yeah.
But he's also saying, I don't want to be totally restrictive on everybody. If you follow a couple of guidelines, I'm okay with that.
And the reasoning behind that is the albeit almighty dollar, without a doubt. Again, why he's kind of pushed, or at least the stance that we've seen throughout
this state has been hit hard. And really, when the numbers come down after it's all said and done, and think about this too, when we get to the next legislative session coming up in January, where it's a full session next year, there's going to be a lot of people with their hands out needing money.
Mm-hmm.
Well, guess what? If the mineral and the gas and oil industry are way down as they are now, how are we going to justify going to the state of Wyoming and again use the University of Wyoming, use our JUCO system that needs monies that have to have those kind of monies.
Construction's still happening over at LCCC. They need to find a way to finish all that up.
Yeah, how are they going to obtain it? So I see the governor in respect and some of the community leaders, county leaders as well, saying, hey, you know what? Let's let's not basically cut. Let's not cut our noses to spite ourselves.
Hell,
So
you wouldn't even know if gas prices were down. Again, they're still relatively expensive out this part.
I seen at one of the
They've dropped
chains,
30 cents.
It's at $2.19. No, it's been going down a penny here, a penny there, and again, the gas prices have been a total ripoff in this city. Everybody knows it right now. That's greed. That's just pure greed.
Wow.
And they're trying to blow smoke up your skirt by saying, this is old gasoline that we have there. But you know what, Nick? This goes back a long time ago when I was married to your mother. We lived over on Mountain, and this was at the outbreak of the first Iraq Operation Desert Storm. And I remember the first bullet that was fired, we saw gas prices go up over at, back then it used to be called Mini Mart. And then you sit there and you look at, all of a sudden the U.S. got involved, and boom, the prices went back down. That was old gasoline in there, but they sure as hell raised it like 25 cents that day. So
greed in the city of Cheyenne? No, really?
Yeah, there's a lot of greed.
Is that a surprise?
And people are going to be taking advantage of people during this time, and it's a shame. And I'm sorry to say that. I know we don't do that here. Matter of fact, all we care about is making sure that people are doing their business locally. We got to take
at least regarding that, do you want to make one plug regarding that? Again, at least follow us both 1480 KRAE on Facebook, facebook.com/1480KRAE is how you find 1480 KRAE. Facebook.com/KYYFM, KYYFM, both, again, stations, sister stations, KYYFM, 1480 KRAE. Both of them have been posting daily updates regarding local businesses here in the city of Cheyenne, whether it is eateries, whether it is banks that are offering options. Again, posted at least a notice regarding Lennox Auto Body today. Again, a lot of local businesses here in the city of Cheyenne. Keep tuned to that on the social media sites. Like and follow our pages. And completely free. That's all we ask for you to do to help us out with that. But again, daily posts regarding local businesses that are still open and offering services during this time, whether it is takeout, delivery, call in, contact, again, B&B Appliance and TV will still deliver those TVs, but they ask you, hey, if you're sick, just please let us know so we don't deliver.
But like I said, I walked in there yesterday, used the hand sanitizer, and went in there and did my business yesterday as well, too. All right, we got to take a time out. Our next guest, Adam Galicia, will be joining us from the Cheyenne Extreme. He'll be joining us here in about 5 minutes. Welcome back to Wyoming Sports Talk today, being brought to you by, again, a great group of folks, and we do appreciate them hanging tough with us as well, too. Mondello's Pizzeria. And, again, to get a hold of Joe and the crew over there, 778-6068 for their curbside and takeout. And, again, delicious Paisan cuisine as Joe Mondello now begins his 5th decade here in Cheyenne. Again, bringing us freshly made pizzas and delicious sandwiches and strombolis and calzones, all delicious all the time. Mondello's Pizzeria, 1507 Stillwater Avenue, Suite D in the Greenway Commons, 778-6068. We want to thank First Tier Bank right across the street, open Monday through Friday. You'll find them at 1508 Stillwater Avenue. Again, call 632-3500 to talk with the folks over there how you can go about your banking. Lennox Auto Body, as Nick mentioned just prior to us going to the break, at 634-6608. Again, shortening their hours at the Dunn Avenue facility. I mean, they're still doing the repairs and the painting, but again, cutting back on the hours, from 10 a.m. till 2 p.m.
Well, that's just office hours.
Yeah, the office hours.
Yeah, you can still contact them, though, via their, at least, phone. Again, they're offering all sorts of solutions. I saw that they had a Dropbox option for your keys. They'll do all that. So, again, their office hours, they're limiting those, again, in person, just to make it more kind of the phone call,
safety
phone call,
issue.
email route instead.
And again, they also have the Auto Glass and Detail Center over on Pershing Boulevard. B&B Appliance and TV at 714 Central Avenue. Again, with the crew over there, you can give them a call and set up a time to come on by and check out whether it's a Frigidaire, GE, Whirlpool, Maytag appliance. Bruce has got a whole floor full for you inside at 714 Central Avenue, or maybe you see Terry and the crew over on the other side, on the service side. You can give them a call, too, and check everything out. Medicare Pharmacy, for all your pharmaceutical needs. Gene and the staff invite you to, come on in. If you need to get your prescriptions from your doc, do so. They are there Monday through Saturday, and, of course, they have a convenient drive-through. Chick-fil-A, Windmill, and Del Range right across from Powersfield and Menards, open Monday through Saturday. Again, serving up 3 delicious squares, 2 convenient drive-thrus, curbside, takeout, yes, all available for you. And you can do all of that, too, via their app. So, again, pre-order and get it all paid for, and it'll be waiting for you when you come to Chick-fil-A, Windmill, Del Range, right across from Powersfield and Menards. We also want to thank our good friends over at Platte Valley Bank, ×2. Again, got to use the convenient drive-through, which is available at both locations, corner of College and Pershing, and also at the original location on Vandehigh. Kia of Cheyenne, do your car buying online. It's just as easy as AJ encourages you to. Either way, you can still come in. They're sanitizing like every hour. So you can walk in there and you can do a face-to-face with the great sales staff. You can go online, Kia of Cheyenne. You can call 775-0123. One thing I do want to mention, too, with your pre-owned vehicle, they're right now going to do this for you. Sight unseen. They're going to give you the Kelly Blue Book on your car. You describe it online to them, what you have, and they're going to go look at the Kelly Blue Book, and that's what they're going to give you for your trade-in, because their trade-ins, again, your trades are always valuable to them. So remember that. Kia of Cheyenne, 775-0123, or check them out online. And we also want to thank Taco John's of Cheyenne, where you can do all your business outdoors right there at the takeout. Again, South Greeley Highway, Pershing and Ridge, Del Range and Ridge, downtown on KRAE Avenue and on Yellowstone Road. And lack of scoreboards, except there was a virtual scoreboard that happened last night. It is being brought to you by our good friends at Pepsi Cheyenne. I'll go to Nick with the virtual scoreboard.
Well, the only virtual scoreboard on this end, as much as, again, you see NHL teams have been simulating games. You have the NASCAR events going on, but we did hold the 1480 KRAE Virtual March Madness live stream tournament throughout the entire month of March, a little bit of April. National title game was yesterday on Periscope via Twitter at Nick Wild Sports and the 1480 KRAE YouTube channel, which is how you're watching Wyoming Sports Talk today right now. But again, congratulations to the Maryland Terrapins. They are your virtual national champions after defeating Michigan. It was a final score of 92-88, so a fun one to watch yesterday. Again, if you're interested to see how the bracket got to the point, see what upsets happened throughout the virtual March Madness. Again, it was all happening on EA Sports NCAA Basketball 10 happening on the PS3. It was CPU versus CPU simulation, but again, that is a Google document, a Google spreadsheet that is online. The links are posted all over the place, whether on Twitter or on the 1480 KRAE Facebook page, Wyoming SportsTalk Today's Facebook page. It was all over to see how we got to that point that the Maryland Terrapins were predicted to be this year's national championship, at least virtually on our end.
Doubt it. All right, we need to take a timeout. We'll come back with our next guest. He is the head coach of the Cheyenne Extreme, 18 and under, Adam Galicia. We will be back in just a couple of moments.
If you're looking for fun and adventure, Kia of Cheyenne is the place to start, and the 2019 Kia Sorento will help you find it. I'm AJ Miller, and the 2019 Kia Sorento will give you what you need to make things happen. This vehicle has plenty of power, all-season traction, safety features, technology, and comfort for any road you're on. The Kia Sorento offers plenty of standard features for the money, and we're all about saving you money. Come in, call 775-0123, or go to KiaofCheyenne.com, and we'll make it easy.
College. It's filled with classrooms, instructors, and exams. But beyond that, it's filled with curiosity, budding friendships, insightful conversations, and so many opportunities. There will be people like you, and you, and you. You'll work, you'll play, you'll struggle, and you'll succeed. But when you allow yourself to pursue your dreams, you'll learn what you're truly made of.
Back to Wyoming Sports Talk today. Again, we are live streaming on YouTube and Periscope via Twitter. Our next guest, another good friend of ours, has been with us for quite a bit, talking about some softball, but unfortunately there's no games going on at the park right now. Talking with head coach Adam Galicia, Cheyenne Extreme, 18 and under. Adam, thank you so much for joining us. It's been a long time since we've had a chance to talk to you, but not much has developed since the last time we talked to you.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. No, everything's still kind of the same status as it was a month and a half ago.
Let me ask you this really dumb question, because I drive by all the parks. I don't see anybody working out on the fields. Has the city closed down all of the properties right now to anybody wanting to come out and at least just throw the ball around?
Yeah, they actually had closed them down. Well, they never actually opened them up for any team practices, so they had a lot of individuals that were going out on their own. But they, a lot of adult softball players were actually getting on Brimmer, so they completely shut down the fields now for everything. They locked the gates at Converse, and they sent out emails to all the city users that we don't want to see you out there.
So that leads in for you, Coach, then, as you know, athletes still need to be in shape, and we've seen what the local high school coaches have been able to do, especially on the JUCO side here in the city of Cheyenne. But we'll ask you the question, Coach, of what have you been able to do with your ball players? Is there an in-home workout that you developed for them, or have they been able to throw a softball out in the backyard? I mean, what have you kind of recommended to your athletes to prepare for the potential and possible season?
Well, the one good thing about our practices and stuff, we do a lot of repetitive stuff. The girls know the drills. So one thing that I've reached out to them and talked to them about is they know the drills. Get out with your parents, teach them the drills, teach your younger sister or brother drills. But so basically they're working on their own at home. Everybody's got equipment. If they didn't have equipment, they've got some from me. And so they're all just getting the reps in at their houses, or they're going out finding a field somewhere.
So, Coach, as we found an update from you, and again, we passed that along about almost about a month ago, that the Activities Association down in the state of Colorado canceled a few softball tournaments early on here in the month of April that affected you, at least with the Cheyenne Extreme. But on top of that, have you found out any other tournaments that have canceled that were on the Extreme, at least, schedule here in 2020?
Yeah, so everything was canceled through the month of April. The earliest right now, so obviously the first weekend of May, which I think is May 2nd. They haven't canceled anything in May yet, but rumorville, just chatter through all the 18 and under coaches from Colorado and stuff that everybody's kind of setting their sights on. Hopefully by Memorial Weekend, we may have a chance to get on the field.
I'm glad that you brought up that point, too. So if we're talking by Memorial Weekend, how much of a season – and again, I'm trying to be that half-glass full guy. So if you are able to get on the field by Memorial Weekend, how much of a season are you going to try to squeeze in? Because I know you try to get things done by about the first part of August.
Yeah, and so if somehow we're fortunate enough to get on the fields by Memorial Weekend. Normally we play about 55 to 70 games a year, depending on how we do in the tournaments and stuff. If we're able to get on by Memorial Weekend, we still could get 40 to 50 games in. I mean, obviously, like I've talked to you guys before, the end of May and June, 1st of July is the meat of our schedule. It's still tough. We could play every weekend if they were to open it up, but I mean, then you run the risk of just wearing out the girls. So we still got to take some time off in between on those weekends.
Now, some of those larger tournaments, we'll bring in the Legion here, for instance, where, again, it came out today on Legion Baseball that the national tournament and also two regional tournaments that happen across the nation have been outright canceled. They are not going to participate. Again, it's not being postponed. It's not being rescheduled. It's just done for 2020. For you, at least U.S. AAA softball they canceled their national tournaments. Again, we know that there is a few tournaments happening in the state of California where it's been kind of hard hit. Florida as well, too, that you've competed in a few, at least down there in those national tournaments. Have some of those bigger tournaments been canceled on a nationwide level?
So nothing is, as far as national, regional tournaments, nothing has been canceled out yet. We're getting a lot of email traffic coming through, via emails that it's going to be a month-by-month basis. USSSA's, kind of been in. We play primarily USSSA, and so we're getting a lot of information from them. Triple Crown, which is the national tournament we were going to attend this year out in California. I mean, they're still sending out info as though they're telling everybody it's going to happen. So we'll see. It's hard to believe that it's still going to happen in California, but we'll see.
Adam, looking at the state of Wyoming and again, being so spread out as we are and we don't have the virus cases as some of the bigger metro areas, and, that's a good thing on our side. But would it be a situation for the Extreme this year to possibly do more of your bidding in Wyoming if that be the case, where you would be in Rock Springs and Evanston and Jackson, whatever the case? I'm just wondering, are you anticipating probably playing more here in the state than dropping down into Colorado? Because, again, Colorado's basically closed until the end of the month.
Correct. Yeah, honestly, that's something I've looked at. We'll be looking at as a team. There's most of the Wyoming tournaments don't start till June, and they run June to the middle of August. So that's definitely something we're looking at. Kind of with the high school softball coming in, there's a lot of the high school teams are starting to get together, so they're going to want to get some. There's going to be more of an opportunity to get some weekday games, get teams to travel to Cheyenne to play. Look at Laramie, Casper, who else? Wheatland, that are getting high school teams. So that's kind of a hope of mine that if the season does open up, we are allowed to play, that we're going to get a lot more of those weekday games.
Coach, is there a possibility where, again, everything right now is day by day, and again, the state of Colorado, the state of Wyoming, activities associations throughout this entire nation could come out with an edict of saying, hey, we're just not doing sports all together here in the springtime and summertime, and those sports, whether it's softball, track and field, golf, whatever it may be, might be cut all together and canceled altogether. Do you foresee a possibility like that for the Cheyenne Extreme, that there would be no softball at all, or do you feel highly confident that you will have some games this season?
It's a month ago, 3 weeks ago, 2 weeks ago, I was kind of confident that maybe something was going to happen. Like I said, Memorial Weekend. After that, maybe get some games in. But I'll tell you, it's not necessarily just we're doing well in Wyoming, and maybe we'll get a lot more in-state games. It's just looking a lot tougher to travel out of state. We got the big Sparkler tournament that we play in Denver every year, where this year we're expecting 1,000 teams from all over, from every state in the country. It's hard to believe they're going to allow those teams to travel into Denver, from all over the place. So I think we're going to get some games in. It may be as few as 15 to 20 games. It's not going to be what we're used to.
Adam, what would be, and following up on what Nick mentioned, what would be an actual drop-dead date for you? I mean, again, where it's like, we're not, I don't want to use the word as brash as Colorado, but, they've got more of the facilities to get up and going, whereas here, we're limited in facilities. But if this thing extends into mid-May, end of May, are we looking at a season being totally wiped out?
I think for us, the hopes are, we'll hang out to the last minute as far as playing Wyoming, playing Colorado, playing in Nebraska. We're even scheduled to go up into South Dakota this year. So we'll hold on for those that are easy to travel to for us. The tournament out in San Diego, we got to have, we'll be getting together as a team to make some final decision. For those type of tournaments, housing is an issue. You gotta pay for housing in advance. You got to pay for airlines tickets. There's a whole lot of logistics that go into that has to be done now, and we've been working on it for months. And a lot of those things, you do not get refunds back. You don't get deposits back. So it's hard to put money into it, put money towards it, if not with the uncertainty if you're going to actually go and participate.
Now, let me ask you this question, too, since they've been toying around, and even in Japan, they're going with, fanless ballparks. So let's just use this as the model. We get that opportunity to get the young ladies back on the field to play ball, but parents are not allowed to show up at games. And again, fans are always the big backbone to even your program, the 18 and under. But the point is, can you live with that fact just as long as you're on the field with nobody even watching the games?
It'd be tough. It'd be different. I think, honestly, for the coaches and the players, we would take any opportunity that we had to get on the field. That would be tough for the fans. Fortunately, with being able to live stream stuff, whatever avenue we would go, we may be able to make it happen. But it would be tough. But honestly, I think for the players and coaches, if there's an opportunity, we're going to take advantage of it.
Coach, final question for me, and again, we appreciate you joining us here today on Wyoming Sports Talk today, talking about Cheyenne Extreme Softball and the possibility of playing this year, again, here in 2020 with the COVID, at least 19 situation. But, we talk with a few, at least, owners of teams around the area, also to some head coaches of teams that, again, kind of base at least their seasons, or at least a lot of those teams need help fundraising, need help from the community, kind of help them out, again, whether it is for supplies, for whatever this and that, financially getting that community support. My question to you, Adam, is with what is happening on right now, is Cheyenne Extreme kind of stable right now on the financials, or are things kind of in a dire strait like the rest of the nation kind of right now?
Well, as far as our organization, we're in a pretty good place. We did our big fundraiser in November, December, January. October, November, December. So we made quite a bit of money there to help the organization to get us through the winter months, to pay for a lot of tournaments, pay for all the essentials that we need, to get through the season. So we're sitting pretty good there. With all these tournaments being canceled, we're getting all those deposits back from the tournaments. So, with 5 different teams, we're getting a lot of money back every week. It's tough for us as the 18 and under. We do a lot of fundraising to travel to nationals. It's pretty tough. It's probably doesn't feel like the right thing to do to go out and ask for donations, when the community's in the situation that it is. We know a lot of people that are out of work. And so we're not going to be out fundraising for that. So that makes it tough for us to do that. For things that we need, we usually try to fundraise for the girls' travel, to pay for their, pay for their stay when we go to nationals and stuff. So that's going to be going into the decisions that we'll be making as a team about what we'll be doing come June and July.
Well, Adam, we keep our fingers crossed again. We're optimistic on this side here, 4 to 5 weeks, that you may be back on the field with your young ladies and playing fast pitch. Also, too, want you to be well, stay healthy, okay, partner?
All right, same to you guys. Wish the best for everybody.
All right, Adam Galicia, the 18 and under Cheyenne Extreme head coach, joining us here on our Wyoming Sports Talk today. Take a timeout. Be right back. And we are back on Wyoming Sports Talk today to talk a little baseball. First, sad note, again, baseball player that I watched growing up, passing away, Mr. Tiger. Al Kaline dying, I do believe it was yesterday, at the age of 85. Al, Hall of Famer. Some pretty good numbers with Detroit. Also a championship back in 1968. I'm looking at the numbers here. Career hits, he's part of the 3,000 club, 3,007 career hits. Oh, by the way, played all 22 of his years with the Detroit Tigers. So, again, that's why he's dubbed Mr. Tiger. Career home run is 399.
A few sports greats have recently passed. Again, some of them due to the COVID situation, again, that we found
Toy
out.
Cannon Jimmy Wynn. Again, Jimmy Wynn playing with the old Houston Colt 45s before they were the Houston Astros. I think he wrapped up his career, if I'm not mistaken, with the Los Angeles Dodgers before he retired. So, again, there's a couple names that come to mind right out of the top there from the baseball side.
Speaking of baseball, it's been rumored, or at least talks have been out there, that MLB is looking to at least start back up the season potentially in May, but they're looking at doing it in Arizona, completely in the state of Arizona. So, again, Rockies would not be playing down in Denver. Instead, they're going to move that all to
Talking Stick,
or however the hell they're going to do it. Again, will some games be featured at Chase Field there in downtown Phoenix? Will they all just be primarily Giants playing at Scottsdale? Also, too, again, what are you going to do with those American League teams or some of those that play in the Florida side?
But the reason they want to do it in Arizona, Nick, everything's all compact in the Phoenix area. The furthest you would have to drive from Phoenix is out to west, and you would have to go out where the Royals and the Texas Rangers facility is at. So that is the furthest you would drive. No, it's now it slips my mind.
But either way, though, again, the talks are that May, some point in time, they're looking to revamp this, or at least start up the season, or at least do a little bit of spring training, get those ball players back into that rhythm, and then just play the season throughout in the state of Arizona, and we'll see if that does happen. But again, it's been rumored. Same with the NBA. Right now, NBA is toying with the fact that they're looking into just playing in empty arenas. But again, we're seeing more and more of those athletes develop at least positive tests throughout, again, the various teams. We know Toronto, right now, at least the city, has basically said no gatherings at all. No events, no sporting events. It's done. It's not happening in the state city of Toronto.
I do like and the
so
side,
that affects the Raptors. That also too affects the Blue Jays as well.
Well, the facilities at Surprise, Arizona, which is 40 miles to the west of Phoenix. But again, in Florida, in the Grapefruit League, they're spread out more. The mile, it's almost like playing back in the old Cactus League days where you had to go down to Tucson where it was a 2-hour drive. Everything, again, within 45 minutes to an hour where you could play. And, again, you look at the facilities, you have in Tempe, you have the Angels facility. You got two in Mesa with the Cubs and the Athletics. Chandler, which is the site of the Los Angeles Dodgers. You mentioned the Giants' own facility right there at Scottsdale. You also have Arizona State's facility, Phoenix Municipal Stadium, where you could play games at. Peoria.
And also, too, I wouldn't doubt that the MLB is probably looking into could you play games in Glendale, or at least could you play it within the like State Farm Arena now, where the Cardinals play in that dome? Could you potentially put a baseball game in there?
No, I don't think so. I wouldn't think so. No. I think you could do it in the Glendale Arena. Again, you have Goodyear there.
I'm just saying, could that be a possibility that they're looking into? I would not doubt. Again, could they play a game there in Tempe, at least in Arizona State's football stadium as well, too? Again, I wouldn't doubt that MLB is probably looking at every single avenue right now if Arizona is going to be that hub for all teams to play at. Again, for regular season baseball, you got to exhaust all opportunities, make sure that it's all different, it's all unique, and in that every team has kind of an even playing field.
Well, you and myself discussed this before we went on there. Again, with this COVID-19, with this coronavirus, it seems to really, I guess, grow or it spreads in more of a wet area. So if you again, we're dry. We're dry in this part of the world.
Assuming, again, data shows that it is, but is it definitive? We have no idea. But again, data is showing that, yes, in more humid climates, it's
down in Arizona, it's dry. And it's going to be hot. So, again, are we looking at night games if they would do that in these facilities? Again, because
there's no way you're playing outdoors in 100 and some odd degrees in midsummer there.
And you can only play how many games in Chase during the day? 2 or 3.
Yeah.
So, right now would be, I would say, between now and June is probably your best times to get into a spring facility out there at Talking Stick. And again, you go right down the list. But again, Major League Baseball is still looking at mid-May, Memorial Day at best?
Somewhere in there, yeah.
But it would be interesting to see if they would move the entire league to the Arizona area. Again, but you get to June, July, August, it's 150 degrees. Nobody's going to want to play baseball in that kind of climate.
Well, and again, for however many months or how long it lasts, yeah, without a doubt, you're going to have players eventually. It runs into interesting ways that the MLB is going to have to be creative on this. But again, you also do have to think about player safety. Again, it's still in a pretty large metropolitan area where if COVID is still alive and thriving, again, we're in these arid climates, it's still popping up cases. Again, it's still popping up cases even here in the state of Wyoming.
But Arizona, though, again, this is why it was brought up, as opposed to Florida. Florida, again, has the humidity. That south all is humid. However, in the desert southwest, it's a dry climate. Arizona does not have the amount of coronavirus cases. And again, too, if you're going to do in stadiums, similar to Japan right now, where no fans are showing up.
Well, they also do play with masks and gloves as well, too, on which, again, I think MLB also to announce that they're looking into doing that as well, too, of what Japan and South Korea has been doing of it's no fans of the stadium. Players are wearing masks, and also, too, they're wearing gloves. But again, it's still baseball, but it's just a revised version of it with new, at least, health implements added to the game to help at least protect player safety out there on that field. So
and again, too, Nick, maybe in 5-6 weeks we get the all clear sign. Who knows?
Who really knows?
We only can keep our fingers crossed.
I think this upcoming weekend, the president said that we were supposed to at least be all clear by then, but that was also too about a month ago, or at least he was hopeful for Easter weekend to be that all clear opportunity. But we know that is not happening. But again, everything is day by day right now, where we see things get updated. We're seeing now more and more things get shut down and close all completely. Again, as we mentioned, Legion Baseball came out today and said that national tournament, regional tournaments, again, the one that's happening up in Gillette and the others happening around the nation, are done. They're not happening in 2020.
That's August, too.
Yeah, it's not even happening. Again, they're not looking at postponing it. It's just done all completely. Right. So, again, we'll talk more about that on Thursday with Post 6 manager Ty Lane, and also, too, again, as Cody confirmed, Beers. Commissioner of the Wyoming State Legion, at least Baseball Association, Cody Beers, will join us as well, too, to give his thoughts on what they're going to do here in the state of Wyoming, if it's even going to happen at all right now, where, again, you don't have a grand prize, where, we go back to what Jim Gardner had to say of, hey, you're playing these sports.
You're playing for the state championship.
You're playing for a championship. All right, Post 6 could still do that here in the state of Wyoming, but again, Post 6, how many banners of state championships have they got where, again, for their focus, and we talked with Ty with that, where we saw infamously last year of they skipped the state tournament to go play for Caba.
Yeah, went to the World Series.
They went to play for that national championship instead of for a local state at least title that they've won however umpteen time. Again,
and again,
is it something that for Post 6, yes, they're going to want to go play the games, but
that's where I would be at. I'm not worried right now, Nick. If I was a baseball player again at that age, and especially my senior year, I'm out there to impress collegiate scouts. I want to continue my career as a baseball player. I don't really care if we go to this, that, and the other place and we win a state championship. I want to get on the mound. I want to throw 7 innings or whatever the case may be. I want to show the college scouts, hey, this is why you want me to come to your school.
But also, too, does it hurt the fact, though, for Post 6 and the rest of the teams here in the state of Wyoming that could get overlooked, where, again, all right, because again, we've talked many a time with a lot of these teams, whether it's Triple Crown, Wyoming, Cheyenne Extreme, Cheyenne Post 6. Hey, these teams get overlooked because, oh, hey, you play in Wyoming. There's not a lot of talent out there. Who cares? You don't think those scouts of collegiate going, okay, Laramie played Cheyenne. Yeah, who cares?
Yeah, but some of these seniors are going to get that little bit of look and get invited, or they may do the Brandon Nimmo
you would hope so.
look and go to these different facilities that they offer during the summer.
If they're even available.
Somebody was watching us earlier talking about gas prices. Fort Lupton, Colorado, down the road, $1.42 a gallon. Just thought, hey, at least they're watching us. Appreciate that.
Yeah.
Real quick, one last thing here. We're going to wrap it up. Both you and myself, we watched it. This would have been my 36th. I've watched them all.
I've watched them all thanks to the network.
Yeah, but I mean, I've been alive for all of them. And it was WrestleMania 36, and it was, again, sports entertainment. So we're going to talk sports
entertainment. It was quote-unquote live from me. It was pre-recorded. We all knew that.
Performance
from the Performance Center in Orlando, Florida. Again, no fans in attendance. It was a unique opportunity where, again, WrestleMania 36 was supposed to be
Brock was there
at Raymond James Stadium there at least in Tampa Bay, Florida. But instead, again, with the situation, again, moved to that closed set opportunity there at the Performance Center. Again, weird vibes, but in my opinion, again, some of the matches were questionable. Some of it was gimmicky and everything. But WWE, give credit to them. And again, you saw Stephanie McMahon come on both times. Again, I think she, at least her title, Chief Principal Owner of WWE, but again, higher up, right behind her father. But coming out and saying, hey, this is something for you folks out there to kind of unwind, take your mind off of what's going on, and just enjoy. Enjoy the production and what those athletes were doing out there in the ring, or at least what they put on for those 2 days. Again, happened Saturday, happened Sunday as well, too, this past weekend. I give kudos to the WWE.
And don't think that came cheap either. That cost them quite a bit of money to put that production on. I know they were getting monies probably off the network, and they were probably
ads
getting
as well,
too, off pay-per-view. But the thing is, too,
again, they had a lot of national ads as well, too.
But they usually make their monies off fans and stands.
Yeah.
I mean, again, you and myself have gone to many events. It's not a cheap ticket.
No.
So, and again, at Raymond James Stadium, 70,000, they would sell out at least 70,000 to see WrestleMania. And again, this came out of the WWE's pocket. Again, not saying that Vince McMahon is not a billionaire. I mean, yeah, he's got a lot of money, but the thing is, he's had a couple of ventures now that kind of hit him in the pocketbook. XFL, half their season got wiped out because of this coronavirus.
But they said they're coming back in 2021.
I understand that, but again, too. That
probably
probably was a red marker for them.
And give kudos to the XFL as well, too, where, again, this whole year has been kind of good PR for that league, where they announced as well, too, of basically cutting that season short, saying, hey, it may be over, but we're still going to pay out everyone in full, though, as if that season went on. So, again, give kudos to the XFL.
Look at all the paychecks that had to be paid during WrestleMania, and again, that was a cast of many that showed up for the 2-day event, and I really enjoyed the 2-day event. Like I said, some of it was kind of the staged ones I didn't like. First and foremost match, The Fiend and John Cena. Whoever thought of that, I'd fire him. Whoever wrote that storyline, get rid of him. You know, I liked Bray Wyatt being the knucklehead that he was back in the day. This Fiend character, forget about it. It was absolutely stupid.
Yeah.
The last man standing match, that delivered between Edge and Randy Orton. That was off the hook. Seeing the Undertaker back in action, that was a little too staged for me, but it was a good match.
It was good. It was movie like, but again, did not have an issue with it. But again, overall though, of what they had to do. And again, the vibe of no fans, and again, where you heard everything from again,
you can hear him talking in the ring. You know, again, all the lipping off. The one thing that you mentioned to me, because again, he's kind of that second coming star after The Rock and Steve Austin and even Hulk Hogan, one Roman Reigns, who's trying to carry that banner for the WWE, the newer,
who was anticipated to take on
the 21st century banner.
He was originally slated to take on Goldberg for the Universal Championship in that game, but again, he's been dealing with, at least in his actual life, again leukemia, which again puts him in that high risk category. Where again, with this whole COVID situation, hey, those at-risk patients, you got to stay at home. You got to isolate from everyone due to the fact that it can affect you in a very negative way. So, again, for him who has dealt with leukemia throughout his entire life, they basically said, hey, you got to stay home for your own rights. And granted, I think it was up to Roman Reigns for his decision to say, either you're doing it or you're not.
And that Braun Strowman match, the replacement for Roman Reigns with Goldberg, that one delivered. And I will say the Beast Incarnate and Drew McIntyre, that one also delivered as well too.
Yeah.
I was not shocked at the outcome, but it was interesting how many F5s that Drew McIntyre could take to kick out, because we've seen guys like Cena not kick out on three of those.
How many times of a spear by Goldberg on Braun, but he comes
3
away with
times,
the championship, without a doubt.
So yeah, in WrestleMania 36, it was different. It was in our lifetime. It was different.
But again, I give kudos to the WWE and again the brass, to the higher ups, to the talent that were out there. Again, where people still online complained about the matches, complained about this and that. But in my mind, it was nice for those 2 days. Again, for about 5 hours, it was. You watched them put on a show, and you took your mind off of what was happening in the world. Whether, again, if you're affected financially, again, worried about the situation, worried about family, you've been affected by this in some way, shape, or form. Again,
you were entertained.
It was something to take your mind off.
Yeah,
of
you were entertained. As a matter of fact, I still think the most entertaining championship they have is that doggone 24/7 one, which Gronk now is the holder of.
Yeah.
It started off with R-Truth, and then the guy that was working with Gronk, he took it, and then Gronk takes it on the second night. So again, as always, WWE offers the comedic value as well as the storylines that will continue on. And again, it's been like that, for 36 WWEs, but it was too big for one night. That's what I liked. This was the first 2 nights of WWE, where we didn't also see in there, and I asked you about that as well, we did not see the Hall of Fame class, because we understood JBL is, a Hall of Fame to be.
A few others as well, too, were named to that class. I think China as well, too, but again, few other names. But obviously it's been postponed.
Because that's a big to-do that they
That's
present.
something they get everyone out there. Again, they have that presentation. They want fans and wrestlers involved with that to give those athletes that kind of special night to be put in that prestigious
I would hope
Hall of
that
Fame.
will be the SummerSlam.
That's
late summer. That's why I'm hoping it'll be during SummerSlam.
It's going to be interesting to see what WWE does forward, of how long they can do with this at the Performance Center. Or again, so far the reports are that no athletes in the WWE, male or female, or any talent have at least reported a case of COVID. But what happens if they do, and then what happens? Does that shut down operations? So WWE have to take a week off, take 2 weeks off due to the fact. Again, it's going to be interesting to see where they were able to do WrestleMania, put it on, give us that opportunity, but how much longer are they going to be able to, or can they find a way to avoid that and still entertain the folks around the world?
Yeah, those are a lot of questions that still need to be answered. We don't know. All right, well, we got to wrap things up here on our side. We're going to be back at it again on Thursday. And again, we're here when we have relevant things to talk about. And again, thank you to Jim Gardner back in the 3 o'clock hour, Adam Galicia here most recently.
Basically, how we're approaching the show is basically what the president said, I think, yesterday, and I thought it was comical, of how much more of reruns or talking about the past can you really deal with at this point in time. That's where I've been in the approach right now, where, again, we're talking about the future. We're talking about here and now news. The only past is kind of within the recent past that does affect future events here, whether it's in the city of Cheyenne, across the state of Wyoming, or again, nationwide, worldwide. But yes, again, we're not going to bore you to death of what happened with a 86 Wyoming Cowboys team, what if, or who cares. Again, that's in the past. Right now, in this situation, it's more so to entertain and look towards the future post-COVID of what's going to happen on the sports world or just in the world in general.
All right, sounds good. So for Nick Proetti, I'm Larry Proetti. We wrap things up here on Wyoming Sports Talk today. Have a good afternoon and evening.